Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of It's Called Football. This is our 22nd episode. But you know what that means? We're already well over halfway through the Premier League season. And hey, Jackson, it's been eventful so far. But before we hop into this last weekend's set of results, because a lot happened as we were discussing before the show. Lots of goals, lots of important results. But how are you doing this Tuesday afternoon?
Doing all right. It's kind of nice to get the show out of the way earlier in the week. We're
It's
usually cutting it real close.
It's a nice change of pace. We're actually getting it done ahead of time, or more so ahead of time, give us time to get it all up and loaded before this upcoming weekend's matches. So, going to be a good one. But we'll start with last weekend and the big one, the one we had as our match of the week. Arsenal took on Liverpool, battled the top two, and we were wrong. Both of us picked Liverpool to win, but it was Arsenal who got a 3-1 win, and I bet you were absolutely buzzing about that one.
Yeah, it was because it wasn't just that we won. We looked really good. Like, especially first half. Second half, I didn't really get to watch because I had practice. So I watched the highlights, all that stuff, but I didn't really get a feel for how the second half went in terms of who was on the ball more. But first half, Arsenal completely dominated. Like, just on top from the get. Obviously, got that first goal with Saka. Martinelli should have finished it first off, but luckily Saka was there to finish it off. Just looked really, really good, really complete performance in the first half until the last play when Saliba was too. Sometimes he's like that, where he's just too calm. He's too nonchalant. So that happened, and then obviously the toe poke, and then the handball that was an own goal from Gabriel. It was a freak play. And I was concerned because I thought, man, we're dominated. We're up 1-0, and they just get a free goal like that. This is their game now, okay? Because they can look at it and be like, oh, we just played horribly, but we're 1-1, and they can just go off and win it. Didn't happen, though, Didn't happen. Arsenal came out. They looked pretty good. Obviously, Liverpool had some chances. Curtis Jones really close to putting them ahead right at the start of the second half. But, yeah, then it was Martinelli off of, what's there to say except Van Dijk and Allison just had an absolute nightmare. Both of them. That's both of them. Like, on both of them.
As
And
a
then,
guy
yeah,
as a guy who plays center back, I'm sure you realize that there should be communication there.
yeah,
There
they
was
should.
none at all, and they just both got in each other's way. And hey, Martinelli did what he had to do, which was just tap the ball into the back of the net. So
Yeah, you could just roll it in. And as a center back, it's the same thing with the Saliba thing. Sometimes they try to be too smart. They try to be too calm. Just clear the ball, you know? Saliba, just clear the ball. Van Dijk, you could have just cleared the ball. He let it bounce, try to shield, and he ended up just hitting Allison. Now, I know there's a little bit of contact, but it wasn't a foul on Martinelli. It wasn't a foul, not even close. It was just, yeah, poor communication. Allison ran out of his box like a chicken with his head cut off. I mean, he didn't say anything. He didn't even look like he committed to clearing the ball. He just kind of like ran like 2 inches to the side of it and stuck his leg out and just hit Van Dijk. It didn't even look like he was trying to clear the ball, And obviously that comes down to the two of them about to collide, whatever. But yeah, serious lack of communication. Worked out well for Arsenal though, 2-1, and then yeah, the Trossard goal. That's just a moment of brilliance from him and a moment of absolutely terrible defending on Liverpool's side and goalkeeping too. I mean, Allison had a horrible game because that goal should not have gone in. On your left foot with no angle, there's no way it should sneak under. Like it didn't even go that hard. It's not like he rocketed it.
no, it was
It was a fairly common shot.
yeah.
And yeah, I don't know.
For a
Great
goal,
for Arsenal though. They
yeah.
looked really good throughout the game. 3-1, back in the title race. And if you're Liverpool, this is kind of concerning because they just didn't play well. And their star players were making mistakes. They were making mental errors when they needed to be sharp. So if they're going to do this now, what's going to happen when they have to play City later on? What's going to happen when they have to advance further in other competitions? It's a serious concern because they've looked so good. But then they finally played a team who obviously can compete, and they just didn't show up. So that's got to be a serious concern because it wasn't just that Arsenal played better. The star players lapsed in critical moments.
Yep. Absolutely. I was going to say this is the worst I think we've seen Liverpool play all season, and it wasn't just like you said. It wasn't just the Van Dijk and Allison errors. Offensively, they didn't score a goal. The only goal that was scored was obviously that Gabriel own goal, which, like you said, just a complete fluke.
Yeah.
All bounces around, just ends up in the back of the net. But they only had one shot on target, Liverpool.
Mm-hmm.
That was almost non-existent from the attack of Luis Diaz, Cody Gakpo at times, Diego Jota, who's been on fire and we raved about last week. This team looked half of what they were. And hey, I'm not going to say it's solely because of this, but we didn't see Connor Bradley this week.
Yeah, and I thought he'd get the
He wasn't,
start.
e- he wasn't even he wasn't even on the roster at all, which he's been superb so far. And they even brought off Trent Alexander-Arnold at the 58th minute, and sure enough, a few minutes later, Arsenal gets the second goal to go up 2-1. So it's one of those things that maybe this could have been avoided, but got to give props to that back four of Ben White,
Oh,
William Saliba, Gabriel, and Zinchenko in the first half, who came off at halftime. But
Kibior, yeah.
Kibori, yeah,
Which
it
was a great change.
Oh, it was absolutely, and that's kind of one of the things that, to me, changed the way that Arsenal was playing. It gave them that extra force in the back that let them kind of get out quicker and strike against Liverpool. Because, like I said, one shot on goal for Liverpool, 7 for Arsenal. This one could have probably been a little worse than it ended up being.
And it realistically should have been, but it wasn't. To be whatever. 3-1 is still great, but like you just said, the defensive showing that Arsenal had was great. It was one play, one freak play where everything that could have gone wrong went wrong. Basically, I mean, what are the odds that somehow Saliba messes up, because he's been so good all year? He messes up. Diaz is able to get a toe in. Toe pokes it to no one, and it just happens to smack Gabriel in the right hand and roll into the goal. I mean, even if it didn't go in, they were going to get a penalty. The whole thing just kind of fell apart. It was a fluke, though.
Oh, yeah.
Apart from that, they looked so good. And I think, like we just said, the Kivior substitution really kind of helped with that. Zinchenko, great player, great on the ball, great in attack. You can use him basically as another midfielder, but when it comes time to defend, he's not the guy. He is not a very good defender. So by kind of changing how they played, especially because there wasn't a whole lot going on when Zinchenko did go into center midfield, it wasn't really benefiting a whole lot, to just put that extra defender in at left back and Kivior, who's a pretty decent defender. It really kind of just changed the whole complexion of the defensive mindset that Arsenal had. And it worked. It worked like a charm. So props to Arteta for that.
Absolutely. Massive win for Arsenal. Puts them 2 points back of Liverpool now for that top of the table. They are sitting in third on goal difference behind Man City, who does still have a match in hand. We'll get into their match that happened now against Brentford. And hey, Neil Maupay, we said it last week. Sure, it's the Ivan Toney impact, but Maupay scores for the third match in a row. And things were going great for the Bees in for the majority of the first half. And then it was Phil Foden after that. Scored right before the end of the half and got 2 more in the second half, assisted by none other than Kevin De Bruyne, obviously. And then Erling Haaland got an assist. So Phil Foden gets the hat trick. City wins 3-1, and they're spicing up this title race.
Mm-hmm. And it's like we expected. You know, we've been saying it for a while. Eventually, they're going to get everyone back, and they're going to catch their stride. They've got their stride. It's looking like they've got their stride. Now, I do wonder if it's too early, because we've seen in other years they come on a little bit later. Because right now, it kind of has felt like they've been building up for a little bit.
Yeah.
So I wonder if it's a little too early. Probably not. I'm probably just being a little hopeful in my thinking. But, man, they look good right now. And I thought – I think I called 2-2 for this game. I thought it'd be like a trap game. Ivan Toney somehow gets a goal. And for a little bit, it looked like I could have been clairvoyant when it was 1-0 Brentford and then 2-1 City. It was still very much in play. I'm like, oh, all it takes is one chance for Ivan Toney, and we're right there, and I get the prediction right. Nah, Phil Foden, man, had himself a day.
Yes, he did.
And when you have the depth that they have, where Phil Foden, who doesn't even start all their games, can come in and just have a hat-trick game like this when Haaland isn't scoring, De Bruyne is not scoring. They're still contributing, obviously, but you can have someone else doing that kind of goal scoring. That's why this is the best team in the world, because on any given day, one of their players can go off and have a day like Phil Foden and carry you to 3 points.
Yeah, and I want to mention how good of a performance Mark Flecken was having in goal for Brentford. Sure, he allowed 3 goals to Foden, but he had 12 saves. City hit 15 shots on target. I know Erling Haaland, I can think of a couple times off the top of my head where he was clear through one-on-one with the keeper, and Flecken made an incredible save to stop the Norwegian from scoring. So props to him. It's one of those games that their defense was about as leaky as a strainer, something bad. It was just it was pathetic for Brentford defensively, but hey, this is what Man City does, and this is why they're scary. And hey, today's February 6th, the 2-month anniversary of last time Man City lost a match. December 6th, they lost 1-0 at Aston Villa. We're thinking, oh, this might be the end. Maybe someone else is taking over. No, they won every single match since then, bar they had one draw, I want to say, with like Crystal Palace or something. There's some random draw in between there. Yeah, it was Crystal Palace at 2-1, but they've dominated. And this is, like you said, it could be a little too early. It's still February. They've only played 22 matches, so they still have, 16 matches left to be played. There's a lot of time left, but it is in their hand, and it's into the title picture. Are you still expecting City to win the title, or do you think one of these, Liverpool or Arsenal, can pull it off?
I still think they win it. I think just depth-wise, it's hard to argue with it. Plus, they have the experience of being there. You know, if they do this every year, they did it last year where they gunned down Arsenal. They don't have to gun anyone down this year. It is so tight at the top that all it takes is them just playing well, and they don't have to gun anyone down. They just have to win, you know? They don't have anyone to chase right now. It's in their hands, like you just said, now that Liverpool lost. Will they win it? Probably. I think so. I think there is a shot that either Arsenal or Liverpool wins it, like a very, very real shot. But for that to happen, I think City might need someone to get hurt.
Agreed.
Or for something freaky to happen, you know, where City loses a couple of crazy games. Because they show up when they need to show up. They're going to beat Arsenal at the Etihad.
Yeah.
But maybe they lose some player to injury. You don't know what's going to happen. Or they just drop some freaky games. But if Arsenal or Liverpool wants to win the title, they got to win. They got to win just about every game they play in, bar maybe games against like teams in the top like 5. They need to win every single game. Not tie. They need to win because City's going to win. So for this to be a race come final 3-4 games, that's what's going to have to happen. I don't think it'll happen. I think both Arsenal, especially Arsenal, I think Liverpool's got a better shot. I think Arsenal is prone to bad performances against bad teams. So I think they'll drop points. And I think Liverpool inevitably just won't have enough about them to oust City. So I think City's going to win it.
Yeah, my concern for Arsenal more so than Liverpool is they are still in the Champions League. Obviously, so is City. Liverpool's still in the Europa League, but those two, City and Liverpool, have been doing it for a while. Arsenal's players aren't necessarily used to playing in this cup competition as well as everything else that's going on. But hey, we're going to probably know which full clear of the title picture this time next month because Man City starts March, at least Premier League-wise. They have one Champions League round of 16 match in there. Home to Man U, at Liverpool, at Brighton, home to Arsenal, and home to Villa.
Yeah.
Right there, we will know what's happening. And I think we could very well know who's going to win the title at that point.
Mm-hmm. If they come out of there unscathed, no one's catching them. No one's catching them.
No. And I do agree with you. I do think they're just too good, too deep, and I think Arsenal will slip up a bit, but I thought they were going to slip up this week, so maybe I'll be wrong there. So it just seems inevitable.
Yeah, and as an Arsenal fan, you just have to have a healthy dose of negativity, a healthy dose of pessimism, because every year things just don't go well. So there's no way things go well this year. Liverpool's got the better shot at beating City, but I just don't see that happening.
Yeah, I'm with you. I just don't think it's going to happen. I think it's just too much to ask, but Hey, we'll find out. Crazier things have happened.
Mm-hmm.
We'll say one of those crazier things was this Luton and Newcastle match this weekend. That was quite something. Ultimately finished 4-4. Luton were down 2-1. It took 7 minutes for Sean Longstaff to get Newcastle a lead. Went back and forth a bit. Longstaff got his second to make it 2-1. Seeing Ross Barkley score still feels
Surreal.
I don't know what year we're in at the moment. It's bizarre. But then a 3-minute stretch, 59th minute to the 62nd, Luton get a pair of goals. And I'm thinking, wow, Luton's looking superb. They're putting the pressure at St. James's Park against Newcastle. Kieran Trippier finally gets his first goal of the season. And what a strike that was. I don't know if you saw that one, but took
I
it
don't think I saw that one.
clean out of the air on his left foot while almost falling down, curled it around the goalkeeper. Pretty good goal. And Harvey Barnes gets the equalizer to make it 4-4. That game had a little bit of everything, and what a big point it is for Luton. But, man, 3 points at St. James's would have been something special for the newly promoted side.
Oh, yeah, it would have. Especially because they had the lead. You know, they had the 4-2 lead. It wasn't just a 1-goal lead. They were up 4-2. So, obviously disappointed you couldn't get it done. But, I mean, if you told them going into the game, you get a point out of this, you're going to take that all day. A point at one of the hardest atmospheres to play in the world, take that all day, every day, you know? So, again, disappointing because you're up 4-2, but huge point for them. And if you're Newcastle, man, there's no way you should be giving up 4 goals to Luton Town. There's no way you should be in a 4-2 deficit at any point, you know? So this, even though they came back and got the point, this is a loss, you know? There is no way a team of their quality should get scored on 4 times by Luton. Now, don't get me wrong. Luton right now is on fire offensively. No one's scoring the goals that they are, but which is
so
crazy. Isn't that crazy? But still, you just can't, from a Newcastle perspective, this is horrible. This whole year has been one giant disappointment right now. It honestly has. With the talent they have, the money they have. It started with Sandro Tonali getting banned for a year. And then suddenly the Champions League thing, you get last in the group, you get nothing. And now in the Premier League, they aren't looking very good. And as of right now, they are in 9th place. They are mid-table, you know?
Yep.
So the money they invest, the players that they have, this has been a very disappointing year. Now they still have time to maybe turn it around and sneak in a European spot for next year. But you're not going to do it by tying Luton Town at home.
No, you're not.
Yeah.
It's kind of bad. I'll put it that way to say the least. But hey, props to Luton. They are one of 2 teams, I want to say, who have yet to lose this calendar year in the Premier League. I'm pretty sure hasn't Arsenal lost? Yeah.
Yeah, we lost.
No, they haven't. Well, they've lost in the cup, but not in the Premier League. So one of 3 teams. Arsenal, Man City makes sense, and then Luton Town are the 3 teams who have yet to lose in the Premier League in 2024. So they're doing what they have to do. Like you said, back-to-back matches with 4 goals. They're outstanding at the moment, and this is what makes a relegation battling side stay up. It's points, results like this on the road. You're expecting nothing. You do manage a point. Meanwhile, you see Sheffield United, which we'll touch on a little bit briefly later, but they got thrashed. Burnley, same thing as Luton, kind of scraped by with a point, but this is massive, and especially with their upcoming fixture against Sheffield United at this weekend, it's big time for Luton. I'm definitely getting a little carried away ahead of time. 2 weeks time, Luton is hosting Man United. Give me Luton.
Give you Luton. I will back that. With how good they are against the top teams, I will back that.
And with Lisandro Martinez, who's now out for 8 months, massive blow for Man U. Hey, they did what they had to do this weekend. I want to touch on a couple matches that looked like we were going to have a winner, but ultimately stoppage time goals changed that. I'll start with Everton and Tottenham. Richarlison, 2 goals in the first half. Jack Harrison gets a goal for Everton, 2-1. 94th minute, Jared Braithwaite gets the equalizer. Massive point for Everton as well in that relegation battle, especially considering the other team that scored a late equalizer was Burnley against Fulham. Fofana
Mhm.
got his second goal of the match in the 91st minute. Just gave a 2 deficit. Who do you think got the bigger point of those two?
I think, okay, from a points perspective, Everton, because Burnley's just so far down.
That's
From a
fair.
morale perspective, probably Burnley,
Okay.
because they just need something to go their way. It's been that kind of year. So a late 91st minute goal probably is not going to change much, but maybe that can get the vibe up, get the feeling of belief up. But from a point perspective, 100% Everton, because right now they're in 18th and they're fighting to get out. Burnley, obviously, a little bit further below. So it depends on how you look at it. Point wise, Everton. Morale wise, probably Burnley. Although I do think it's harder to get a point against Tottenham right now, so maybe that plays a part. So I guess I'm going to lean Everton just because of that.
Hmm.
But huge point nonetheless for both teams.
Oh, absolutely. I'm with you. Leaning Everton, it might be slightly more important solely because of what you said of Burnley's fate is more or less sealed already. I don't see them catching two teams. I don't see them catching one team, let alone two. It's going to be their work is cut out for them. But hey, we'll see.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's going to happen. I think they're in trouble and more or less done for. But nonetheless, getting a point late against anyone, good for morale, especially when you both of these teams have brutal matches this upcoming weekend. Burnley is traveling to Anfield while Everton are going to the Etihad. Man City and Liverpool, it's tough scenes for those two. But
Yeah.
point's a point, not much to write home about it. Can't believe I feel like Tottenham probably came out or Fulham came out the worst of them.
Yeah.
Only 2-0 lead in the second half. Not a great look, but some other results that I kind of want to quickly touch on. I mentioned Sheffield United took on Aston Villa, and that was 5-0 Villa.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was going to be bad, but I didn't think it was going to be this bad.
I thought it'd be bad too, but yeah, 5-0 is something else. And that's just how bad Sheffield United's defense has been this year. Like, they have been abysmal. And they have definitely been the worst team in the Prem. Look at their goal difference right now. Have you seen that?
Oh, Sheffield's is atrocious.
Minus 40.
Is it minus 40 now?
Minus 40.
Oh, good God.
Yeah. 59 goals against. That's absurd. That is an absurd amount of goals. You're a little under 3 a game.
It really is.
Like, that, just let that sink in. That's how bad their back line has been.
God. I didn't think it was that bad.
Yeah. So there's no hope for Sheffield United, man. There just is no hope for a team to stay up if you can't defend at all.
Yeah,
Yeah, minus 40 right now.
I think that's
59 against.
I mean, it just gets worse and worse each week for Sheffield United. I don't see any shot that they stay up, and
Nope.
it's going to be one of those things that kind of not surprising. I want to just put it that way. They've looked terrible. There's a reason we both picked Paul Heckingbottom to be the first manager sacked this season, and sure enough, he was. But the other result that was kind of one-sided, Chelsea and Wolves. Chelsea at home, Stamford Bridge. You're thinking, oh, okay, maybe get a result, needing a result. They lose 4-2 to Wolves at home.
Mm-hmm.
All out of the top 10 now. They looked so bad. They couldn't string passes together. They couldn't really possess the ball all that well, weren't making any real shots. It was just all around terrible performance by the boys in blue.
Yeah, I mean, at home as well, like you just said, to lose 4-2 to a team that just hopped them in the table. They're both these in this mid-table position, and yeah, we're like, okay, there's still time for Poch to get things going. Sometimes Chelsea actually looks kind of good, but then you see stuff like this where you just don't show up. And it's not like they had a particularly weak squad in terms of what they have. They have just about everyone playing,
Yeah.
Thiago Silva's there, and Nkunku's back, Sterling, Palmer, all these people, Caicedo, Enzo. They've got their players in. So at a certain point, is it the manager? Is it the club's hierarchy, the higher ups? Is it the club culture? All these things right now are contributing to this absolute dumpster fire of a team we're seeing. And Wolves is doing what they do best, which right now is beat some good teams, be mid-table as fuck.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
them and Crystal Palace are the definition of mid-table mediocrity. Year in,
real good at it. Maybe 1 year have a decent year, maybe a little worse. Wolves, they're doing their thing right now. Chelsea, not doing their thing.
hey,
Yeah.
absolutely. And got to give props to Mateus Cunha. Got his hat trick as well. 22nd minute, 63rd, and then an 82nd minute penalty. So, but I just don't get it. Like they are really, really, really bad. And this is another match. I want to know how many points Chelsea have lost this year from winning positions. Sure, it was only 19 minutes in when Cole Palmer scored, so plenty of time left, but Chelsea were once again up 1-0. You cannot be losing games to a team like Wolves, who are bang in the same spot as you on the table and have now jumped you in the table with that result. It's just shouldn't be happening like that. They've looked so abysmal. They're now 11th in the table, 1 point back of Wolves in 10th, have a -1 goal difference. It's just bad, and I don't see where it gets better. They didn't do anything in the transfer window. And if they did, it'd probably be like what they've done the last 2 years, where they just throw money at some random guy and hope and pray that he turns into an incredible player. But I guess I got one question for you. Is it time to sack Poch?
I don't know. I think we're getting close. And I feel bad because I do think he's a good manager. But I always just thought he would be sacked. But I don't even know if it's his fault. Ever since Abramovich has been forced to sell the club, it's gone to dog shit. Like there's no other way to put it. It has gone to absolute shit. Todd Bailey knows nothing about how to go out and get players. He's signing them all these baseball contracts of 7 years. You're going out and paying out the ass for Mikhail Mudryk. Yeah, that's really worked out well for you. They're just going after all these players. And I'm just thankful from a USMNT perspective that Tyler Adams did not fall victim. At the end of the year, Bournemouth might end up being higher than Chelsea.
Really, they're only 4 points back of them now with a match in hand. So it could very well be that they fall apart and Bournemouth finish ahead. That would be superb to see.
Yeah, but in terms of the Poch thing, I think eventually he's going to get sacked in a few weeks if things keep up. But I don't think he's the problem. I think it's the ownership. I think it's the people higher up. I think they're the problem, and I don't see a turnaround happening unless they either completely change their approach, like the Cronks did, or the Cronkies. I always mess up their name. Did with Arsenal, and then, or you just get a new owner. I don't see anything changing unless that happens, because right now I think that's where the problems are stemming from. It all started when Abramovich was forced to sell the club. It kind of went down, and now we're seeing the Chelsea that we see today, which is a mid-table, struggling team with good history in the past. In recent history, they've been great, but right now they are just not that team.
Yep, and I think you summed it up perfectly. I don't necessarily think it's on Pochettino at all. I just think he'll be the scapegoat of this whole situation. I do think it's Todd Bowley and the entire front or back office that's just been so bad. They have no plan. I've said it time and time again. They're just throwing money willy-nilly, hoping someone steps up and is impressive, but I don't see them getting any better. I do think they'll finish probably they'll string some random wins together. So I think they'll finish probably top 10, but realistically, I could see them finishing as low as maybe 12th or 13th. I just don't see where it's going to go. I do believe Pochettino will be out of a job by the end of the season. I don't think he should be because, like you said, I think he's a very good manager. I just think he's been thrown into such a bad situation. You could have put Pep in this situation and it wouldn't work out. Klopp, there's no manager that could be saving Chelsea right now. They need something higher up than that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's all we have for this past week's matches, unless there's anything else you want to quickly discuss from this past weekend of results?
All good on my end.
All right, then. Well, I will get moving on. Actually, I do have one quick thing because I saw a interview with Nottingham Forest and US MNT goalkeeper Matt Turner this week. I don't know why I drew a blank briefly, but I saw something along the lines because they just announced all the World Cup venues and all that, saying that he doesn't expect the US just to make the final. He expects them to win the World Cup in 2026.
Mm-hmm.
What are your thoughts on that?
No, we're not ready yet.
No,
well, I do think a semifinal run could happen. Look at what Korea did in 2002. You know, if you get the energy from the fans behind you, anything's possible. But at a certain point, we always see like the best team win the World Cup. Like, think about it. Well, we've never seen an upset team win the World Cup. We've only seen one kind of upset team really make the final, and that was Croatia. But even that team was stacked and had been building. You know, I don't see it happening. I really don't. It'd be awesome. But we shouldn't go into this World Cup with the expectation that we need to win it or else it's a failure. Yep. That's not how this should be. What this should be is you put on a damn good show and you go far as you can, preferably quarterfinals. You want to at least get quarterfinals. You know, you get quarterfinals, it's a dub. So you want to get there. But the goal of this World Cup is to grow the game in the U.S. That's how this should be used, you know? You get people interested. You get kids playing. So then the talent pool, over time increases like it's been increasing. I think eventually, I know like Trey was saying the U.S. will never win a World Cup. That's a load of bullshit. I think eventually the U.S. will win a World Cup, but it's not now. It's not going to be this time. It's going to take a lot more development and a whole lot more interest. This could be the catalyst, kind of like how 94 got a lot going with the MLS, all that stuff. This could be the catalyst for something great. I'm hoping promotion and relegation fully gets implemented, but we're not winning it. And Matt Turner is as delusional as thinking he's going to earn his starting job back if this is what he's thinking. That's absurd.
Do you think he'll, because he's been one of our favorite topics and players to track this year. Do you think he'll be the U.S. national team goalkeeper come 2026?
Who's going to take his job? That's
exactly.
Our weakest spot right now has been historically our best. Because for a while we had Brad Friedel, we had Tim Howard, Brad Gazan, we had all these dudes, Casey Keller, playing in the Premier League, playing at top-level clubs.
Yep.
And now we've got Nottingham Forest backup keeper, Nottingham Forest third-string keeper just moved to Cardiff. So at least he'll get some first-team minutes, hopefully. I don't know what their plan is for Horvath. You have Gaga, who I think one day could be that guy, but he's young. He's younger than I am. He is not there yet. Mm-hmm. And then you see, Zach Steffen in Colorado. Is that the option?
Oh, is he at the Rapids now?
Yeah, he moved to the Rapids. Yeah. That's where all the European rejects are going these days. Mihailovic, him, Bassett, they're all going there.
So what I'm hearing is the Rapids are actually going to be decent this year?
They're supposed to be on paper. On paper, they've made a lot of good investment with US M&T players.
Interesting, because last time that happened, they brought in Jermaine Jones, and that did not really go very well. And I think they even had Tim Howard briefly.
You did, yeah. But that was the retirement phase. This is like they're still playing. They've got something to play for. Some are trying to get back to Europe. There's a whole interview with Cole Bassett recently about that. But maybe you guys will be good. But going back to the goalkeeper situation, I don't see anyone else who could take the spot right now. Again, a lot can change. It's going to be 2+ years until the tournament. So we'll see. But I just don't see anyone doing it. I think Turner's going to have to move on if he wants those minutes. Maybe it's a loan deal somewhere else. I think he's got to get out of England, personally.
I do too. I think we've seen it happen with Pulisic, Weston McKennie, a couple other players for the U.S. national team where the entire spotlight on American players in England is never positive. It's always just negative, hitting them down. And we see him now. McKennie, you say, is one of the best players on Juventus. Christian Pulisic is also tearing up Serie A. I think I'm with you. I think Matt Turner needs a break. I could see him go somewhere like France or Germany potentially.
Yeah, I'm thinking Bundesliga.
Bundesliga would be a good fit for him, I want to say. So We will see. There is obviously a lot of time until 2026, but there was one date that I saw a lot of talk about for the 2026 World Cup. This is the last thing I have on it, and I'm calling it right now. This is February 6th, 2024. Mark your calendar because July 4th in Philadelphia, England is going to play the US in the round of 16. Somehow, some way. The organizers. Oh, well, England would lose. We would lose and they would be dreadful, but I don't think there's anywhere anyone would want to play the US on the 4th of July worse than Philadelphia.
Can you imagine the fans, man?
That's what I'm saying. We already see how crazy Eagles, Phillies, Flyers fans are. It would be different for the US national team in a round of 16 match of the World Cup that you're hosting.
Dude, and you already know these people who don't even care about soccer will see 4th of July,
USA, here
England. Oh, they would show up in storm. They'd be outside just heckling them with the Philly fans, man.
Oh, that's what I mean. The tailgate would be insane. This would be the first time I think I could properly say that the U.S. fans for a football match would be on par with those of Europe. If something like that happened in Philadelphia, of all places. I don't know why. I just have a feeling it's going to somehow someone might get a draw here when they should have won, or vice versa. And next thing you know, I do not want that match because from an England standpoint, I think we lose that. Never beaten the U.S. in a World Cup. I don't think it would start on July 4th in Philly.
Oh, fuck no.
The place where the Declaration of Independence was signed, it would be bad.
Yeah, U.S. would win. If they play on 4th of July, they're beating any team they play.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's over. But that's enough of the World Cup talk. We do have a couple matches to look ahead to for this weekend. We'll start with our match of the week, and we were kind of torn a bit. We're leaning West Ham, Arsenal, possibly Tottenham, Brentford, but ultimately we've gone with Aston Villa and Man U. Jackson, what are your expectations for this Villa Man U match? Because both teams are coming off a shutout victory.
I'm going Villa. I'm feeling them through and through here. You know, big result this week with the 5-0 win.
Yeah.
They're at home. They usually do well at home. Just about every game but one, they have done superb at home. So I see that continuing here. They get the win. I just feel like they're still such a strong team. This is a Champions League team in terms of the Premier League this year. They are the 4th best team in the league, I think. They're better than Tottenham. So I think they'll get this done. Man U maybe makes things interesting. You know, they like to do that a little bit with Scott McTominay always getting himself a late goal, but I think Villa wins this 3-1.
Yeah. My big concern for Villa will be how they can contain Garnacho because he's just been on a tear for Man U at the moment. Scored 2 goals against West Ham this past weekend. But it just seems like every time I see him, he's scoring something or creating a play for someone else to score something. It's happening, but I'm going to lean with Villa also for the sole purpose that Man U will be without Lisandro Martinez. I mentioned it a little earlier, but that is massive. Because you look at their back four against West Ham, Diogo Dalot on the right, Luke Shaw on the left, and then Slabhead, Harry Maguire, and Lautaro Martinez in the middle. Brought off Martinez, brought on Rafael Varane, who hasn't looked at all like himself this year. Might see Varane start, might see Lindelof. But that back four does not put any confidence into me whatsoever, especially against a Villa team that is flying after this past weekend.
Yeah, and the concerning thing is you want your center backs to be the most solid, besides goalkeeper. You want them to be the most solid, most steady players on the field. You got Maguire, you got Lindelof, you got Varane. Maguire, we all know who Maguire is. Lindelof is terrible. And Varane has been awful this year. Doesn't look like he wants to be there. Doesn't look like he even wants to play anymore. You know? He's going through the post-Madrid depression phase where it's like, shit, why did I leave?
What am I doing with my life now?
Yeah, which I still don't know why that move ever happened.
I don't get it one bit. But
same with the Casemiro one. I was still confused by that. But at least he shows up. Yeah, I just don't see that happening at all for Man U this game. I think they'll leak goals. Like I said, 3 is my prediction. 3-1.
All right. I was going to go 2-1 probably. I do think that something will happen, but I think it'll be 2-0 for majority of it. Man U will get a 75th minute goal, put a little pressure, but Villa will hold on. So I'm going to take them there. Other match on Sunday, because I guess we're starting Sunday and working our way backwards this week. West Ham and Arsenal. Arsenal looked superb. Like we said against Liverpool, West Ham looked dreadful for the most part against Man U. West Ham have not won in any of their last 5 matches, and it's not like they're playing great opposition either. They've been playing Bournemouth, Sheffield United. They drew with both of them. Lost to Bristol City after drawing with them, the championship side. So give me Arsenal. Give me Arsenal relatively comfortably in this one. I'm thinking like 3-0, maybe even 4.
See, I've got that Arsenal pessimism in me. I think West Ham wins this game. I really do. I think Arsenal's going to be on such a high that we falter, because that seems to be something we like to do. Do really well, go and beat Man City, but then lose some stupid ass game or draw some game. And I just see that happening here. It might be that pessimism in me. I don't believe in this Arsenal team yet. I haven't seen enough to convince me. Yes, great performance, but can you do it every single week? I don't know if that'll happen. I think West Ham's going to come out ready to go. I think they're going to catch Arsenal sleeping on set pieces, and I think they'll get a win. I think Arsenal looks better. They might have more chances, but I think West Ham's going to find a way to sneak a 1-0 result. I don't think Arsenal scores.
I like that pick. It's going to be interesting, especially considering Arsenal hasn't won this year against West Ham. They lost in the Cup, or the EFL Cup, I want to say, back in November. Then they lost 2-0 at home to West Ham in the Premier League. So maybe it's one of those teams that just has Arsenal's number. I personally don't think it's going to happen this week. I think Arsenal is going to come out flying and continue their hot streak, but I see exactly where you're coming from. And it wouldn't surprise me if West Ham makes this a dogfight.
Mm-hmm. And they win if it's a dogfight.
Oh, yeah. Because it'll come down to something like the goal that Liverpool scored. It'll be some weird deflection that wrong place, wrong time. Arsenal will be their own worst enemy, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Looking at another match, relegation battle, 2 teams we talked a little bit about so far. Luton and Sheffield United. Thoughts, predictions, who gets this one done?
Luton down. You have to say Luton down at this point. Saying anything else would be foolish. When you look at who is playing, Luton Town, team that is scoring goals for a game in their last couple. Then you got Sheffield United, a team that likes to concede goals. Negative 40 goal difference, 59 conceded, 5 in their last game. At Luton Town, I think Sheffield United will have a better performance than they did, obviously, against Villa. But I think Luton Town's going to win by a couple goals. I'm going 2-0. I like what they're doing right now. They're playing like a team a little bit possessed on the offensive side. Defensively, they're doing what we thought they'd be doing, leaking goals. But if you can score 4, then you can concede 3, you know? So I think they're going to get it done. I do think they keep a shutout in this game and they win 2-0. I do think they will get that done. Yeah, I just don't see a way Sheffield United wins. I think they're by far the worst team in the Prem. Yeah. Give me Luton Town, 2-0 win. Continue their little hot streak of form they're in right now.
I like that pick. I am going to agree with you. I do think Luton's the much better team. All logic, which it never matters, but Premier League math adds up like this. Luton beat Brighton 4-0. Brighton beat Sheffield United 5-2. Somehow, some way, Sheffield United's going to get a result here. I'm still picking Luton, but I think it'll be a 1-0 Luton win. And I would not be surprised one bit if this finishes as a draw or Sheffield United somehow steals one just basis of Premier League math not ever adding up.
Fair enough.
We will see what happens, but it's going to be – I think this is going to be a spicier one than you would think. So who knows? This is a bottom of the table clash. Anything can really happen in these ones. But moving on to the last one, we're actually going to go into a little bit of depth on, unless there's any others you want to. But Tottenham Brighton, I don't know which way this one's going. Yeah. I can see 2 very different ways, and I think my big question is, will Heung-min Son be back? Obviously, it's only 4 days away now, so maybe not. But South Korea was knocked out of the AFC Asian Cup today, 2-0 to Jordan of all teams. So
Dude,
that
Jordan's on a tear.
Jordan's been on fire. Give me Jordan to win the whole thing. I would love to see that. Jordan and South Africa. That's what I
Dude,
want to see.
I'm all in for South Africa. I've been saying that, but
Yeah, they're different stuff for different days. Those two tournaments have been superb. But if Son is back, I think Tottenham wins comfortably. Just because Brighton's been so inconsistent as of late, where sometimes like they scored 5 against Sheffield, gave up 4 against Luton, scored 4 against Palace. They can't do it all the time. Sometimes they're really good, sometimes they're really bad. I do think Richarlison is the hottest player in the Premier League at the moment.
mm-hmm.
9 goals in his last 8 matches, I want to say. If not, it's like 10 goals in the last 9, something ridiculous.
Yeah.
Which I'm so happy to see him scoring because he is class when he is on form. And he was having such a hard start to his time at Tottenham that kind of cool to see him getting better. So give me a goal from him. If Son is playing, give me an assist or a goal from him. I'm going 3-1 Spurs.
See, I've enjoyed watching Richarlison fail because Spurs bad. Richarlison annoys the shit out of me.
That's fair.
That I've loved it. But anyway, that's just an aside. I think they will win this game with or without Son. Like you said, he is one of the hottest players in the Premier League. Doesn't mean he'll score this game, but there's going to be all that attention on him. Yep. Someone else will pop up and score. I'm liking them here. They're at home. Obviously, huge disappointing result at Goodison Park.
Yep.
But that happens, you know. I still think Tottenham's a better team than Brighton by a little bit. Not by a lot, but by a little bit more consistent as well. And I think that class will carry them to the finish line here. I'm going 2-1. I do think both teams get on the score sheet. I think it's tied 1-1 at one point, but I do think Tottenham will have enough about them to get this win. I hate saying that, but yeah, they will win.
There we have it. That is all of the matches we're going to go in depth on. We are going to run through our other predictions and just touch a little bit here and there on the rest of the matches. Jackson, we'll start with Man City Everton. We've been raving about how good Man City is for the majority of this early part of this episode. Do you think Everton does anything to get the win on the road at the Etihad?
Nope. All City. 3-0.
Yep. I'm with you. I think it'll be 3-0 as well. I do think Erling Haaland finally gets back on the score sheet.
I like that.
1 but 2 goals. So that's my prediction there as well. Fulham Bournemouth, honestly, a lot closer of a match than it really should be. 2 teams that have not been good at all as of late. Bournemouth, a little bit better. They beat Swansea, they beat QPR, but those were in the cups. They haven't looked very good otherwise. I'm taking a draw on this one. I think it'll be relatively uneventful. I'll go 1-1.
I think 0-0. That's kind of where I was leaning. I don't think anyone scores. I think it's a boring game. That's my prediction. 0-0.
Yeah, we didn't have a 0-0 match this past weekend, so we're due for a couple this weekend. And this looks like one of them. Liverpool-Burnley, kind of similar question as Man City. Everton, does Burnley do anything? Can they do anything?
Nope. Liverpool wins, goes through 4-1. I think Burnley does score a free goal. I don't know why. I'm basing that on nothing but gut. 4-1, though.
I'm going to go same result as Man City. I think it's 3-0. I could see it being 3-1 if some fluke does happen, like they get a random penalty or a free kick or something, or VAR intervenes. But otherwise, give me Liverpool, give me them relatively comfortably.
All right.
Wolves and Brentford. And I'm going back to like what I said about Tottenham and Son coming back. If Hwang Hee-chan is back, I can see Wolves getting the result. If he's not, I'm leaning towards Ivan Toney, Neil Maupay, and Brentford just because they have looked like a completely different team. Sure, they didn't get they got the big – no, they didn't get the result last time out against Man City, but that's Man City. To be expected. Struggled a bit against Tottenham, but really should have done better in that one as well. But I don't know. I have that feeling that Ivan Toney's going to score. I'm going 2-1 Brentford.
Yeah, I'm going 2-1 Brentford too. It's because they need the points way more than Wolves need it. Wolves also might experience a bit of a hangover effect from their win at Stamford Bridge. So I'm thinking Wolves just drops this one for pure lack of focus and concentration because when that happens, Ivan Toney strikes.
Yep.
I'm taking an Ivan Toney brace. I think he's going to get 2 in this game. Brentford wins 2-1.
All right. I like that because, hey, you brought up the table. Brentford is only 3 points ahead of Everton for that last relegation spot. So they are by no means out of the clear. Meanwhile, Wolves are a whole 10 points ahead of Brentford. So I understand what you're saying, that they might be a little lackluster. Last game on the Saturday, Nottingham Forest hosting Newcastle. Another one. I just have no idea. Don't really have much of an opinion on this one. I think Newcastle will get it done, but what are your thoughts on this?
Newcastle wins because every time they play bad, they immediately go and play great. Seems to be a trend that seems to be rather consistent. I think it'll continue here. Forest, abysmal. I don't even we like to shit on Matt Turner all we want, but I don't think the problem's with goalkeeping. I think the problem's all over the place. I think Newcastle takes advantage of that and they win comfortably. I'm going 3-1.
Yeah, I'm going with I'll go 2-0 Newcastle. I do think they win. I don't think Forest really creates much opportunities of goals. And I think Forest falls down to one spot out of the relegation zone after this weekend, because I think Forest will obviously lose. Luton will win, so it'll be Forest as that 17th place team with Everton creeping down their necks. So we'll see. And then Monday, last match of the week, Crystal Palace hosting Chelsea in another London derby. Does Chelsea get it done?
I think so.
You think so?
Yeah, I think they get this done. A little bit of not revenge, but they're avenging their loss from this last week. Palace has looked pretty awful at times. I think Chelsea's going to find a way to take advantage. I think they win 2-1. They get a massive 3 points, not for any particular reason other than morale boost, but I think they get it done.
Yeah, I think Chelsea get it done solely on the fact that Crystal Palace has not beaten Chelsea in any competition since 2017. One of those teams that you just can't get over the hump, and it's been consistently losing the double over them every year. They lost 2-1 in the fall. So give me Chelsea. Give me 1-0. I think it'll be ugly, but hey, that's the result I'm going to take on that one. But Jackson, any final thoughts, any closing statements you want to make before we wrap this one up?
Nope. Not on my end.
Heard it here first, folks. FA Cup today, I will say that. So there should be some entertaining stuff, some replays. Both of our championship teams playing today. Coventry hosting Sheffield Wednesday. Leeds going to Plymouth. I don't have any expectations for either of us, so we'll see what happens. But
nothing but L's.
Though I kind of want us to take an L, focus on the league, try and get promoted to the Premier League. Hey, who knows?
And we could focus on not getting relegated.
Exactly,
right there. 23rd place. Have a whole lot of ground. 9 points to make up.
Oh, man, is it really?
Yeah, get to 21. Yeah. Or 20. Yeah.
Not great. We will see you guys later. Thank you all for watching. As always, make sure you check out all of our other episodes of It's Called Football. Make sure you subscribe to the Vendetta Sports Media YouTube channel. Hey, from Jackson and I, we'll see you guys next week.